Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to FAQ Friday, where if you've got questions, we've got answers. My name is Erin Peake. I'm an attorney here at Bonina and Bonina, and today we're going to be covering sexual assault on campuses. Before working here, I interned with the United Nations in their Sexual Violence and Conflict Office. And so now working here at the firm, I help handle our caseload of sex abuse cases, whether it's childhood or adult. Now recently, the Adult Survivors Act has been passed. And what this means is it creates a 1-year look-back period for adult victims of sexual assault. That window gives the victim 1 year to file a lawsuit, no matter when the assault happened, as long as that victim was 18 years or older at the time to legally qualify them as an adult. And that window opens actually in November of 2022. So we're covering sexual assault on campus today. A big question that may come up is why campuses? Adult sexual abuse can happen anywhere at any time. We're focusing specifically on campus sexual assault this week because around 26% of females and 6 to 7% of males experience rape or sexual assault while they're undergraduates. That's a higher than normal number. And then, of course, on campuses, there are a lot of factors that can lead to higher rates of sexual abuse. Some of these are individual factors, such as alcohol consumption or hostile attitudes towards victims or individuals who have less power, whether they're younger or they're trying to achieve some type of status on campus. In addition, there are environmental and cultural factors on campuses, such as peer pressure and other gender role stressors. And then finally, inadequate enforcement efforts by campus police and administrators have often been cited as potential causes, whether individuals are looking the other way or refusing to implement any new rules. That can be a factor as to why any sexual assault or abuse on campuses does continue to this day. So the next question that we often get would be, okay, this is a thing. This is something that maybe I experienced, and I want to bring a suit now. Who can you sue? That's a big question. So, of course, you can sue an individual perpetrator, but you can also sue the university, the school, and any organization that was involved in overseeing or securing, supervising any event where an assault may have taken place. So any national organization, club, fraternities and sororities we'll get into as well, they can all be held liable for sexual abuse on campus. So now that we have the who covered, the next question would be for what exactly? And there are various different causes of actions that you can sue any entities or individuals or organizations. So the first one I want to go over would be negligent hiring and retention. So this is when a university maybe hires a resident assistant or a teaching assistant, teachers, staff members, and hires them maybe without doing background checks, without a secure and thorough interview process, and then maybe even retains them after there have been any kinds of red flags. If there's any kind of history throughout an employment that would have warranted any additional supervision or other measures, that can kind of lead to the university being liable for continuing to retain these employees, even if they're student employees. In addition, another cause of action that someone could pursue is negligent security. So, for example, if there are strangers entering in and out of dorm rooms that they shouldn't be allowed to enter or that should be more secured, if there are upperclassmen entering dorm rooms that are strictly for underclassmen, and if they're doing so at times that they're not usually allowed to be doing that, are there security guards on campus at night? All of these are factors that we would look at when thinking about, well, was there negligent security involved here? Now, a very famous case involving negligent security on a college campus in New York State is the case of Katie Hawelka, in which two security guards were doing their rounds on campus at night. They saw two individuals who they believed were engaging in consensual sexual intercourse just in the middle of a lawn. They did nothing. They allowed it to continue. This was a very big case at the time. Lo and behold, it was not consensual, and the family of Katie Hawelka was able to successfully sue the university for this negligent security. In addition, there can be a cause of action for negligent supervision, which is a little different than negligent security, but there is some overlap. And that would be where if there's a known offending student, are there repercussions and supervision for the student who maybe there are already red flags? Are they allowed to continue to go to social activities? In addition, if there are organizations with risks or histories of issues, is the school continuing to supervise them adequately? Are they allowed to continue to hold social events? Is there training for all of the members of the organization, and are all of the leadership involved informed on how to properly supervise their own organization? And this kind of does lead us to the umbrella of fraternities and sororities. They do have historically higher rates of binge drinking and alcohol use and misuse. And in addition, there are some higher risk factors involved with the fact that there can be isolated living quarters, whether it's on campus or off campus. So in cases involving fraternities and sororities, we definitely want to look to, is there risk management involved in this activity? If so, was it implemented properly? Was it followed properly? And other sort of preventative factors are lessons on safe socializing and affirmative consent being taught in these organizations and in these environments. Finally, when we're talking about sexual assault on campus, it's really important to address Title IX. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 protects people from discrimination based on sex in education programs and activities that receive federal funding. So since about the 1980s, regulators and courts have held that preventing gender discrimination requires schools to implement policies to protect students from sexual violence or any hostile educational environment, reasoning that these can limit a woman's ability to access education. So under Title IX, schools are required to make efforts to prevent sexual violence and harassment and to have policies in place for investigating complaints and protecting victims, both before and after they have reported any kind of incident. So in all, there's always ways to achieve justice. There's always ways to achieve healing. If you were hurt on campus, it's not your fault. People will believe you if you choose to come forward. So we'll see you next Friday for FAQ Friday. Thanks.